Hey y'all, I'm back. We had a hurricane. Ian was howling all over my yard. Sure would be nice to have some of that Ukraine money down here in Florida, Joe. I'm just saying. PayPal has gone full-blown commie and CCP is opening up police stations all around the world, including in the United States. Ye says white lives matter and gets booted from Instagram. Liberal heads explode when illegals show up in their sanctuary cities. Nothing's going to happen to Hunter Biden, y'all, but imagine if it were Don Jr., okay? Elon is continuing with his Twitter deal. Tom and Giselle, they're headed for divorce, y'all. There's lots more October surprises to come. I'm so glad to be back. I'm Mimi. This is The Rundown. Now get ready for Politics Plus Podcast.
Get my money in large.
Nigga, how you get this money? Get
my money in large. My money's in large. Get my money in large.
We getting grown up bread. This bitch 18, but she get grown up head. Violate me, then I spit the grown up lead. I'm teabagging your bitch on the grown up bed. Home from the feds, you ain't grown up yet. Follow your father, now you take grown up steps. You see me in Vegas, niggas make grown up bets. They singing on songs, they gotta be tone deaf. If I don't do nothing, they ain't fucking with you.
They sent Obama, the nigga done lied to me. This the new world order. They killing economies. Liberals always been the one killing minorities. They started the KKK to push their weight. They even shot Brother Martin in the face broad day. Wonder why you getting bit. You keep voting for snakes. I wonder why you show them love when they showing you hate. It's different levels, y'all. Parent. Through the devil's fog, suicide by Clintons. I had your ass up in the morgue. Seth Richardson took that walk. He ain't get back. Epstein ain't kill himself. Don't forget that. You look lost. Let me draw you a map. Everybody speaking up. This is the ones that get clapped. Here, listen. Let me draw you this map.
You know what history is going to reflect? It's going to reflect that during this time, during the time that we are alive right now, that the media, our governments, the global shadow governments, all failed. Most importantly, it's going to show how they tried to destroy humanity. It's going to show how the media and politicians colluded with the NIH in order to hide the fact that they created something that could have decimated everyone on this planet. And they continue to do things like kill dogs, like torture primates. And the media says nothing about it. The people are standing up. The people are being heard. And trouble won't last always. Most importantly, God is watching, and God got those who are standing on the side of righteousness.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Politics Plus podcast show. This is episode 17. I'm your host and executive producer, Danny Neyba. I'm joined here today with Mark and Mel, and we have a very special guest to introduce you guys. But before I bring them on, I just want to tell everybody that I know it took me 17 episodes to come in and be a part of the show. I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, just making sure Mel and Mark and all my hosts look amazing and look great. I'm also working on a lot of content and topics for you guys. So I'm here. I'm basically here because the guest that we have tonight, I had to be here. One of the reasons I started the podcast was to get individuals like my guests, like myself, Mel and Mark, another platform to speak, to get their voices heard. We're all individuals that stand in truth, and this podcast is hopefully, with the 17 episodes we have in the can, including this one, we're getting that done. So without further ado, I want to introduce our guest for tonight. He goes by a few names: Tony Montaga, Antoine Tucker, Tony X. He's the most feared Black Latin politician alive. He's a political leader, an entrepreneur, an artist, an activist, and most importantly, a truth teller. Everybody, let's please welcome Tony X to the Politics Plus podcast. Tony, how you doing?
I am honored to be here. That was a great introduction. I'm not gonna lie. I've been on a lot of podcasts. That was a great introduction. I'm humbled by it.
You rolled out the red rug for you.
I kind of wanted to tell him, like, all right, stop.
You know what he didn't say though, Tony? He didn't say good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
No, see, no. It's good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Ah,
Because
Right.
somewhere around the world, that's truly what time it
Yes.
is.
I
Right.
love
There
it.
you have it.
So Tony, me and I could say this. I could speak for myself, Mark and Mel, that we are just really excited to have you on.
Yep.
We all follow you on Instagram. You're a beacon of not only truth but hard truth. You say it as it is. You don't sugarcoat anything. You are a truth teller. You're one of my heroes. For anybody listening and watching right now, just let everybody know who Tony X is, what you do, what you stand for, and any mission that you're on currently.
I am on the road to redemption. Honestly, candidly, it's probably the first time I've ever said this, so I'm gonna just say this here. It is hard for me to sleep because of some things that I've seen in my youth, as well as going into becoming a young adult. Uh, in order to not become a victim, what I had to become was something that I'm I'm always going to have to live with the regrets of the kind of destructive nature and force that I was within my own community. So for me right now, I am seeking redemption. So wherever I hear, God leading my heart or opening my heart to somewhere, whether it's to teach someone simply a lesson or whether it's to really help somebody out, I try my best to adhere to it, to know thyself is to know God. So as long as you continue to trust, and trust that you're being guided and it's in a positive way, then I think that, you're going to be all right. So for everybody watching this, you've been watching me from the very beginning. It was a ton of profanity. It was never an act. It was never a character. I wasn't just trying to be funny. It's just really where I was and where I am now. It's not that I've changed my tenacity, or it's not that I want to use. It's not that I don't want to use these words. I just want to allow your children to be able to hear the message, and I don't want anyone cringing. It's that important that self-indulgence or feeling, like, oh, I got it all off my chest because I've said something, and it's just out there like that. And I just said it with, and I'm sorry if I'm holding this up, but I just need people to understand kind of why it changed.
bring it.
Just getting it off your chest, you just feel like, oh, I got it off. But then it's like, you just killed the whole message with the presentation. The kids that really need to hear it, the generations that really need to hear this, 100 years from now, what we're doing right now, I still believe is going to be important because they're still going to try this again, and as long as the message is classy enough, for lack of better words, then it can become timeless. It can become
Yeah.
something that will always remain relevant. And then when you are walking in the righteous path, and you are following, when you are following what God has in store for you, then the path you're going to take may be rough, but it doesn't mean that you have to kind of try to blend in order to be good. Sometimes it's good to just walk quiet and carry a big stick. So from now on, that's all I'm trying to do. I want to help as many people as possible. Let's get past arguing. If we can't, then like men, we'll handle whatever we need to handle. And if outside of that, my goal is redemption. I don't want to be the guy that dies and his legacy was, oh, he was this guy in the street. And he just, no, I want my legacy to be, he really helped people.
Well, that's some
That's awesome.
very strong and beautiful words there,
That was
Tony,
awesome.
and that was awesome. I'm just like in awe at the moment.
I'd say that your redemption, Tony, is taking place just in what you just said, and that last 5 minutes was fantastic. So, don't feel like you're holding up the podcast by giving that great intro because that was just
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. People need to hear that. People need to hear that. So,
Yeah, especially now.
bravo.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people gravitate towards Tony X. I mean, I know he pulls out a lot of content on IG. He's just started his podcast, and please go check that out. Check out his podcast. And I think a lot of people gravitate towards Tony X, especially when he's on his lives, is because he's just giving you the raw truth. There's no sugar coated. There's stuff that may surprise you, but Tony X always stands in truth, and he's a truth teller.
And be
again,
encouraged, Tony, because that's what people need to hear. Your community, every community needs to hear exactly the way you just said it. So don't ever be discouraged by anybody. Speak it the way you just did, and you will go play. Your message will get out there. I
I
promise you.
promise you, brother. I promise you. I am not a discouraged man.
I'm sure. I wasn't. I totally understand that, but just keep on doing what you're doing. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I know there's a couple of topics that we wanted to get to talk to Tony and get his insight and get his perspective. I know this man is just so knowledgeable. Just the stuff that he says, all the stuff that he knows and thinks of it, and he's well articulate. Just thankful again that he's on the podcast. First topic was talking about Eric Adams, and Eric Adams has declared a state of emergency for New York because of the influx of immigrants. New York City, due to the influx of immigrants that have just bombarded the city. So I just want to go around and get everybody's perspective. We'll start with our special guest, Tony X, and what your thoughts are on the state of emergency.
That's all you need to hear right there.
It is hilarious because the refusal to name Biden and Camel Toe as the perpetrator of this, right? Because you can say it's a state of emergency, but then what value does that add to your sanctuary city? Then it's a lie. So then, and it's just showing everything. It's just showing everything. I'm sorry, I'm gonna just let somebody else have it. I just had to say that. It just shows it's all a lie. That's it.
Mel, any thoughts?
Besides that, it's a joke because supposedly this is a sanctuary, state city. We welcome everyone, and now we're not welcoming them because there's too many of them. They should have known that since the beginning. Again, a state of emergency for what? I don't get it. I don't get it.
What gets me about the whole deal is that they put it out there as though they were welcoming, like I said, like you guys have both talked about already, open arms. Let's bring them all in with love. And as soon as they get here, boom! Look at Martha's Vineyard. Look at Martha's Vineyard. They were off the island in one day. Okay, so don't tell me you're opening your arms and hearts up to these people. But what really blows my mind again is that they put it out there, sanctuary city, come, please come. And all of a sudden, you've got how many people have showed up? Not that many, really. And all of a sudden, we're in a state of emergency, or a state of emergency.
More than 17,000 migrants. And here's a quote from
but
Mayor
a state
Adams.
Of emergency over that, though, really.
He says this is a humanitarian crisis that started with violence and instability in South America and is being accelerated by American political dynamics. Thousands of asylum seekers have been bussed into New York City and simply dropped off without notice, coordination, or care, and more are arriving every day. So here we have this political party, because the Democrats had, pushed this, saying, oh, you know what, there need to be more migrants that need to come and get absorbed into the economy, into the culture. There's a lot that these immigrants can provide to our nation. But now, with this abundance of immigrants that have entered the city, no one wants them there, including the mayor. And I'm sure Governor Hochul feels the same way.
They're the ones who said, come in. We welcome you all.
Yeah, but think about it this way, guys. New York City is one of our biggest cities, right? We're only talking about 17,000 people. Look at how many people have crossed over the border that have entered the whole country.
I know.
So if New York City is in this state of affairs right now, a state of emergency, imagine what the whole country is going to look like when the reality really hits of what's going on. Okay? Tony?
It's a sad day to be so-called man of color today. Because, you just got to confront the house Negroes and the blatant, I just feel like the Django. And I just keep looking at these Democrat politicians, and the only thing I see is what's the Samuel L. Jackson's character when he was like, "Now what the is that nigga doing on that horse?" That's what I feel when I think about. I'm serious because people voted for Eric Adams because he had a more conservative approach. He seemed like he was going to be on Law and Order. He said he was going to be, hands on. He wasn't going to play. He got literally said he wasn't going to have security. He said he was going to walk around with his own pistol, and this is literally
Mm-hmm.
what he was saying. And
Mm-hmm.
he literally has backtracked on every single
Everything.
thing that he has said. And then to
Yep.
say that there's little to no coordination, or as if you don't know that these buses are coming, it's a blatant lie. There
Yep.
are no buses that are coming into New York City that is not accounted for and that they do not know it's coming.
Right.
This is
Exactly.
ridiculous. And there are open buses that they know have been busing illegals back and forth. And then I just did something on my podcast yesterday with them getting caught with having minors on a bus with only 3 adults. Where there were
Mm-hmm.
50 people on a bus. So they've been transporting and trafficking humans
Teenagers.
since this started. This whole thing
Yeah.
has been about, okay, so now I don't need to do this on my podcast. Let's break it down here. Because now let's get to the meat of the bones of what this is. Eric Adams, it breaks my heart to say it, but he is one of the most evil SOBs. Because listen, when you know someone's racist, they're horrible. But when you decide to be a willing tool for them, it becomes a lot different. The fentanyl coming in is what? To replace the drug business. There are no heroines in the street like there used to be. Hello, there aren't people sniffing cocaine. This is not the 70s. No one's wearing bell bottoms, and people aren't, it's not like that. The new drug of choice is pharmaceutical medication.
Mhm.
How do you keep Big Pharma absolved from being sued from pharmaceuticals? Well, you create designer pharmaceuticals, releasing the same information, which is the chemical compounds, and then having these things reproduced in other places such as China and in Mexico and in other places south of the border, and these things are distributed here into the United States, but with the DEA's help. El
Exactly.
Chapo became successful because the DEA put him in position to become successful. And it wasn't until he went against their wishes of creating a lab that they decided to go after El Chapo. This is all just a game. So now the new fentanyl comes in. There's a new crisis. Now they get to have something else because the war on drugs has to remain in order for them to feed the machine. The prison industrial complex has been set up because of this already. I mean, the United States of America has more people in prison than any other nation on the planet. And China has over 1 billion people that are walking around. And it's not because just people should be in prison. It's because this is done on purpose. So a new crisis is created through the drug process. And since Donald Trump was in office and he closed up all of those tunnels, closed up Ghislaine Maxwell's child abductions enterprise, arrested this guy, and then they went in there and they killed him. Because for those of you who are watching, I did 6.5 years in federal prison. I was literally in that building that Jeff Epstein died in. I did suicide watch for inmates that was in there. So I'm trained for suicide prevention. I used to go and every 15 minutes I would have to write down what the inmate did, whether he turned around, no matter what. And I'm telling you, you can't kill yourself on suicide watching it. It's just impossible. You know what I mean?
Keep tabs on you.
Yeah. So all they're doing now is the new kids are coming in, and now you're seeing, there are pills. And when they say, these pills had human remains inside, dried up human remains inside, like all they're trying to do is reestablish that whole system that they had that was being broken apart and that was fractured because of Donald Trump, and they're putting them bodies and them kids back into it.
So Tony, this is where some people would think that these influx of immigrants are to, turn everybody blue, to, accumulate votes for the Democrats. You're saying this is more like on the because of the drugs, because of the fentanyl, because of the pharmaceutical drugs.
And the countless
More
bodies.
of an agenda.
And the countless bodies, brothers and sisters, everybody watching. These are people who no one know who they are. No one will ever be
Yeah.
able to say my person is missing. And if they're all the way from who God knows where, and the people out there saying they're missing, they're missing, they're missing, who's going to care? How can
Because
they be
there's
big
nothing to
enough?
track them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and how could they be big enough to even have a voice to do that? And who over here is
Mm-hmm.
going to really listen and care? Because now they control the algorithms. So they can see who can see you and who can't see you. Unless you
Yeah.
have a VPN that blocks it, pretty much they can put you wherever they want you seen at. So this is done. I'm telling you, this is done on purpose. This is genius.
Mm-hmm.
These Latin people aren't going to come here and vote Democrat. They're leaving the exact same madness that caused it, and they know what the Democrats are doing. Latinos are not stupid. That's why over 60% of the Hispanic vote has now leaned conservative. 65%.
Yeah.
That's just mind blowing. It's just goes to show how evil and satanic these Democrats are truly, like, to the core. I mean, wow, it's just
Astonishing.
those kids that have gone missing, and like like you said, there's these kids that go missing on these the human
Tony,
trafficking, all this stuff, man. It's just
Tony, how do you explain putting only, like you said, 3 adults on a bus full of minors, and then just sending them out into America to be
Yeah.
dropped off somewhere?
One of the adults
How
had to
does
be a
that get?
driver
Yeah, but how does that get past? How does that get past everybody involved in that whole chain of making that happen?
because
A
the
whole
media
bus
is
full of minors.
involved. The media is involved. The media, all of these people that are put in place currently now, since the assassination of JFK and the intimidation of Ronald Reagan, as well as a coup attempt on Donald Trump. These three
Hmm.
situations are very important because they killed JFK, he wouldn't been. Then they forced Ronald Reagan to been because they shot him. Then they took another attempt on him. Then afterwards, he kind of took a more fallback position. He said what he tried to say, and then he kind of fell back. And then you seen Bush take a more superior role, even than you've ever seen any vice president take during that presidency, right? The people who have been put in place have always been compromised by the intelligence agency. They learned from the cross-dresser, J. Edgar Hoover, that information is key. So now, what have we learned from children? Adrenochrome. What does adrenochrome do? It allows you to what? It allows you to live longer. It keeps your cells realigned faster. It repairs your cells faster. So I tell people, would you take $1 billion and you have to die in 5 years, or would you be able to live 100 years? What would you take? And most people are going to take 100 years. They're going to, because they realize they can make that money within having
Mm-hmm.
another 100 years added to the 30 years they already had in their life. Forget about it and be healthy. No, they're going to take that. So health is everything. So these people don't care. They create the fiat system, but the health is in the human race. And they're sucking the energy and the life out of as many humans as they possibly can. They have us fighting with each other. They'll tell my brother Mark here, you're a white man. He's not white. This background in his cup is white. He's not a crayon color, but he is a human. But the people that are controlling everything, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. Mark would never be around them. He would never be invited to their parties. They would never have him around because he's not of their essence, and we know that. So as long as we're arguing with each other, these people are going to win. And the intelligence agencies, they're well aware that this is a one big BS, fight. They control the presidencies. They control the newscasts. They control most of the influencers. And Kanye
Mm-hmm.
West exposed a lot of it. And we can talk about that because Tucker Carlson already put it out there, some of it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Kanye West exposed a lot of it about his wife and what they're doing and how she's connected to the Clintons. So it all
Yep.
shows that this is one big controlling force. And all of these people, even on both sides, are highly responsible. And there has to be someone pulling their strings. Who can lock up a politician, right? The
Mm-hmm.
FBI. Just think about it. They're not
Yeah.
elected. They're the only people who are not elected that could legally investigate anybody in Congress, anybody in the Senate, and anybody in the White House. And
Mm-hmm.
if they really have sound reason, they can lock you up. That's a big enough threat. There is no oversight for them. How do you have the oversight on these people? You can't shut down the CIA. No one's tried to.
So Tony, if what you're saying is true, and I believe it, with the FBI and all these, these
They're all
agencies,
fraud.
who, I hate to bring political parties into this, but who right now controls the FBI and who controls the CIA?
It's the neocons, so it's both sides, right? It's both sides. And then there's a limited amount of people on both sides who aren't really in it. They're just kind of caught up in it. It's like they're not important enough to even know what the details really really are.
Yeah.
So they're most
Right.
likely told, like, we'll put your stuff in this bill if you vote on it, and no one has
Go
time to
along,
really
go
read.
along to get along.
And no one really has time to read 4,000 pages in like 4
Mm-hmm.
hours because they pass bills in the middle of the night anyway. You know what I
Right.
mean? So this is a lot that's done. And then you'll see people like, I have no vote. You'll see that there are people on both sides who don't cast votes. It's because they're
Right.
just like, look, I can't even in good conscience even play around with you guys and do that. So these are the people that you never see on TV. These are the people that you'll never see on either side. And I need people to understand too. Just because Fox will tell you things you want to hear doesn't mean that they're not opposition to you as well.
Yeah.
These people are meant to keep you entertained. You have to
Yeah.
pick your poison and know that you eat the chicken and you throw the bone away. Meaning you should be able to, ascertain what's being said to you, but not kind of be caught up in being fed a narrative.
Yeah.
Well, since you brought it up, I think it's a good
Well said.
segue for us to talk about Kanye. I know Kanye was recently in the news. When isn't Kanye,
As of lately.
on the front page? But lately he wore, to his own fashion show, he wore a White Lives Matter shirt. He was joined by Candace Owens, and obviously the woke mob just
Can I
went
say
at
something
it.
real quick, Danny?
Yeah, sure.
I'm the only white boy in the room here, okay? Only white guy in the room here. If I had a Black Lives Matter shirt on, everybody would just love the shit out of me now, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But isn't it funny that a black man who might actually like white people, which I think he does, can't wear a shirt that says White Lives Matter? See, here's the thing with Kanye. He knows that all lives matter, but he was doing that to get the response, to see the response, to make real what he believed was true with the media and how they would respond to it.
To
It's
break the
astonishing to
internet.
me. It's absolutely astonishing to me.
I think
Sorry.
that the media was smart. They would have said, this is brilliant. Kanye West is trying to bring both sides, because then they wouldn't have fell into his trap.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Or
Knew what
even
they were doing.
acknowledge it. If they wouldn't have acknowledged it, nothing would have happened. But of course, they have to add fuel to the fire.
They
I've,
fell right into his trap. Well said.
I've seen people make comments and say, oh, I don't agree that he wore the shirt. We know White Lives Matter. Everybody knew that. And some people had some valid statements into what they said. But the thing that I'm going to say to these people, because some people are close to me and some people aren't, that may have felt the way. You didn't even get a chance to ask him why he wore the shirt before you condemned him for wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
In either way, shape, or form, he wore it because he wanted you to listen. And you're all listening now.
So did he expose their racism by doing that, you think?
I think that he more than see, I think that we use that word. And when we use that word, we don't really understand the meaning of it. To be racist is to have the capability to financially and physically keep a group of people from prospering. This is why the system can be racist, because Joe Biden implemented laws that would be enacted specifically on a group of people. But it would be hard for you to be racist to me, brother, because I'm not sure how rich or how influential you are. But if you're not worth maybe $100 million or more, I'm not sure you could be capable of really being a racist. You could have bigoted and prejudiced views towards me, and that's one thing. That means that you view me different, and you may say disparaging things about me based on the contingency of how I look, or my color or whatever, but you don't have any real capabilities to affect me financially and physically. So, to be racist, again, is because this is racing. We're a race. A race is like to be compete. So if you're a racist, then you're trying to keep a race of people back and you're trying to advance your race. So at the same time, too, you would have to have the capabilities of advancing a particular group of individuals ahead of the next. So
I've
just
never
don't
heard it
get
explained
don't
that way.
yeah, just don't
That's
fall too
fantastic.
much into it, Mark. So when you were saying it earlier today, I was sitting there and I was like, no,
Mhm.
you can't you are incapable of being racist, Mark. We can all be bigoted and prejudiced towards each other. But Mark, unless you're worth $100 million, you are going to be incapable of being racist towards me because I have money and I have influence myself. So it's going to be hard for you to be racist towards me. You understand? Like it's going to be hard for you to
Yeah.
keep me back from doing anything that I want to do physically, or even the people that are with me, that I'm bringing with me. Like if I'm going to bring them with me, and there's pretty much nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? Like you have to have
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
capability. So don't fall into it, brother. And for everybody watching too, don't let them keep saying, "Oh, this is racist, that's racist." Like, stop letting them misuse the word. Listen, I'm
That's
poor,
exactly
you're
it.
poor, and even if
Hmm.
we're rich, we have to work for it. At the end of the day, if no one can physically and financially keep you and your family members from prospering, and if they're doing it specifically because of your race, then that's racism.
Yes.
That's racism. Other
Man,
than
I'll
that, if
tell
they're
you what,
saying you're
I've
black, I
never heard it.
hate your
I've
black
never heard anybody say that, man.
ASS.
That's fantastic.
I hate your black ASS. They're just prejudiced and they're biased and they need
Yeah.
Jesus.
Of course they do.
That's really interesting. Wow.
Yeah, that's a great way to
Yeah.
put that, Tone.
That should be taught in schools, to be honest, because the way that they teach these kids nowadays, it's again, we're all going by this. It has nothing to do with that. It
So what
doesn't.
basically Tony was saying is if you want to speak all these what you think is are racist comments, if you can't back it up by making something change because of that, your words don't mean anything.
They're just words.
That's right.
They're just
Exactly.
words.
That's fantastic.
They're just words.
No,
They're just
but
words.
on the other side of that coin is a person that's being that's on the victim of those words shouldn't feel offended because that
No.
person can't change their life.
I did a video and I put on Instagram the other day and I said, if your environment makes you feel like you need to risk your life and or your freedom to reach your goals or to
Hmm.
get anything accomplished, then remove yourself from the environment. And then I said also, some people are like, oh, why would I just, well, if you're in an environment that's making you feel that way, then you don't have anything in that environment.
Yep.
And I say that to
Yeah,
say, why continue to have a conversation with someone that's an empty conversation? If someone's saying
that's
something
right.
derogatory towards you and you don't like to hear it, you actually have the option to walk away,
Yeah.
Just
or
leave.
you can just simply look at the person and tell the person like, yo, I don't know what's going on with you or why you're so upset with me, and I've done nothing to you, but I really, really hope that everything worked out for you, and I'm going to pray for you, and then whatever they
Mm.
say after that, it doesn't even matter because you already won the whole conversation. You never know.
Yeah.
Sometimes people need a hug, so they might break down and be like, I'm sorry, just maybe they wanted you to come out and be like, what did you say? And you might say, you know what, listen. We all having a bad day. Everybody going through something. You got to be going through something. 'Cause I don't know you to be talking to me like that. You got to be
True.
hurting inside. I feel for you too, man. I don't know, man. I just hope you have a better day, fam. And I'm just gonna
I
walk
bet
away.
I bet you've made some great. I bet you've made some friends with that approach.
No, this is something new. So before I would
Well,
meet
then you
you,
will.
yeah. Before I would meet you, some behind somewhere, and we would move some furniture. But that was a couple years ago. So, like 2.5 years. I'm at a point where I think the more I train physically too as well for combat, the more I'm really more at peace with not really trying to do that to somebody. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
the more you're actually training too, it's like for me it's just like I don't even want to hurt you, bud. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm old enough to know it hurts to heal. So it's not going to be
Yeah.
like I'm going to just walk through you and I'm not going to get hurt. I'm going to get hurt and it's going to heal
You,
a
you've
long
learned
time.
that.
Yeah, I'm
You've
cool.
learned that reverse psychology goes a long way.
Yeah, it goes a long way. Look, you can have it. You can have all of that. I love you, man. I'm sorry. And sometimes, hey, look, they could be, and I know I can win. And you know what? I'm sorry. You got it. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done, brothers and sisters. I'm telling you guys, we got to build an army. There are people who
So
are going to
I'm
be on the left.
curious.
Go ahead, sis.
Sorry. What made you turn this new leaf?
Winning the army. In order to become a successful, see, when God talked to me, people think I'm crazy. But I woke up, I told my mom, I said, Ma, I'm not rapping no more. I'm not doing the music no more. God came to me and he told me I'm special and he told me I was going to help change the world. She said, Tony, you can't change the world. Then 5 months later, I got an invite from Donald Trump to go to the White House. And we started to change the world, right? So,
You're not crazy, by the way.
Yeah,
so,
you're far from crazy. You're very
Yeah.
intelligent and articulate. You're not crazy.
so all I'm doing, Mel, is I'm just at the point where I'm just hearing that call and I'm just doing what I'm told to do. And I'm not asking. I'm not, I'm not second
Yeah.
guessing it anymore. It just is what it is. That's it.
So what? So pretty much you're going by what God puts in your path. That is what you're to do.
That's
No
it.
questions asked.
Lemon
Good.
lemonade, baby. That's all it is. That's
Yep.
it. That's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
That's it.
It's so refreshing to hear.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
Tony, me and you have spoken on lives a couple of times. Just where you come from, your past. Someone like you who chose to uplift themselves and make something of themselves. If you were a liberal, you could have easily become a liberal, because liberals usually blame society. They blame their childhood. They have all the excuses for not being or getting to where they need to be. But you have done the complete opposite, and that's something to be so commendable and just very something to
Yeah.
applaud.
It's
you
not me,
for, 'cause
brothers and sisters. It's when I was in juvenile jail, there was 3 people. Mr. Rowland, who was from England, who's a white man, rather chappy lad, and he
I
often
like
didn't like
men.
that I used to say, "Bloody muff," yeah. He didn't like that I used to say that, but I said it quite often. But I used to mimic him. But he gave me he made me want to read. He made me want to, I mean, he was a walking almanac. You could ask him anything, and he knew how hot was the sun, how far are we from the sun, what's the fastest
Wow.
motorcycle, what's the fastest car, how tall is the average man, how tall is they, like, he knew everything. So this is like, so when people talk to me, they're like, why do you know so much? It's because he would he would test me. We would have tests. He would give me almanacs from different years, and I would read and memorize the whole almanac. He helped me with my photographic memory. So I would read it and I would memorize it, and he would test me, and we just go at each other. Then it was Mr. Jackson. And Mr. Jackson was a physical force. This was a big brute of a man, right? And he told me to push through. Like when I was working out and he was just positive enough to tell you, like, man, you push. He just made you feel good about your body. And that when I was a kid, I was chubby, so he kind of helped me, craft my body into becoming, and then it was Mr.
get
Jocko.
lean.
It was Mr. Jocko. And out of everybody, Mr. Jocko is probably somebody that I'm going to try to reach out to one more time, because I reached out before and I was supposed to go up there to see him, but I didn't get a chance, but I will again. And Mr. Jocko, he protected me from a juvenile officer that was supposed to be my mentor, but that was verbally abusive towards me and physically abusive towards me. And Mr. Jocko was 4'11", but he did mixed martial arts, right? And my father did mixed martial arts, so I used to take a lot up with my father. So one day, Mr. Jocko just heard him belittling me, calling me ugly, just everything. And then he ended up kicking his butt in the parking lot. And then the next day he came in and he became my mentor. So Mr. Jocko, those 3 men helped shape me not wanting to continue I didn't want to be a continued offender. And I definitely wanted to make them proud. There's one more man, and I keep Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams from Goshen. He was my counselor, my overall counselor, and he used to be a priest. He helped get me closer to God. But the most important thing I need people to understand is what helped make me a man was that prison took me away from my single black mother. That's why I became the man that I am today. Because had I stayed
Amen.
with her,
That's
then
awesome.
I would have been somebody who would be complaining about everything. Because I got family members that's raised by her that complain about everything. Don't pull themselves up. I'm telling you, don't and complain about everything. That was around
Oh
her
Yeah.
boy.
complaining about everything. So what saved me was the fact that my mom abused me enough to push me outside. And the people that end up picking me up were male role models strong enough to not push me away, but give me opportunity. So that's the
Yeah.
moral of the story. So I know people was like, damn, did he just say that? I did say that about them.
Isn't it
Yeah.
amazing though? Isn't it amazing though how the 3 or 4 or 5 people that you mentioned that impacted your life, that made Tony Montaga the person that he is today, they might not even have a clue what they've done for you. Just like the
True.
person that put you down, or the people that put you down, they changed your life too. But fortunately, you let the positive outweigh the negative. And with that being said, Tony, what you're doing now, you commendable is an understatement. So what you're doing more or less is you're taking the influence of what saved you and paying it forward. So I have to wonder, how many people have you affected? How many people have you turned the lives around of people?
Um,
For example, young boys and girls. So in other words, everything that they did for you, you're paying it forward. You're changing lives. So be encouraged with that. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear all these stories. It's awesome. It's really great.
I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that. Thank you, brother. Mark know how to make you
Thank
feel
you.
like a little
Yeah.
baby. Mark be talking to you, and Mark.
Yeah. Guys,
That's just today.
let's take a 5-minute break because I gotta go to the little boys' room. So I'll be
Oh,
right
come on.
back.
All right, great. I can get something else to drink. Hold on. I'm sorry, you guys. I got a new model car here. I'm a guy. And I got an E63 in my garage right now. But man, just having this on my desk right now next to the other AMGs, it's nice.
So, are you from New York?
I'm from New York. Yes, I'm a dual resident. But I've been in Texas now for going on 2 years. It'll be 2 years in February. And I'm not even gonna
2 years.
lie to you. I'm not coming back to New York. You make $2 million in New York State, and then when it's all said and done, you only clear $600,000.
Yep,
I
Exactly.
that's
refuse
right.
to be raped.
Exactly.
I refuse to be raped. I refuse to be disrespected. And Eric Adams is a little bitch. So since I know we're not on here, I'm gonna just say what I feel. He's a little bitch. He know that
Say
they moving
say
them
what you
kids.
feel always.
He
Say what
know
you
that they
feel.
moving them kids, and he know that they
He
have them
does
kids.
know.
He
He knows
know for a fact,
everything.
and he trying to make it
Yeah,
seem like he don't know, but he lying. Anything coming into New York City, I can promise you, they know is coming into New York
I
City.
know
Ain't no
they
fucking
know.
surprise is coming into New York City.
It's
No,
funny too, Tony. I actually had high hopes for Eric Adams, even though he's a Democrat.
see,
I
I
was giving
didn't. I didn't. I
he's
knew
a
he was
him some.
gonna. I knew he was a
Yeah, but
snake.
the thing is though, Mel, you live there, so you have the right to feel that way. I actually from New England, I was
First of
hopeful that this
all,
guy was.
Mark, he's in the city. He's
Well,
not
I
my
know.
mayor.
Well, yeah, I got you. But I'm just saying, you're in New York, period.
Yes.
So not that that really matters in
I
this
just got back from
conversation,
New
but
York. I literally just got back from New York. I was
I
here last week. Just got back. Look, hold on, look.
I had
From
high
where? The
hopes.
city?
Yeah, watch this. Hold on, watch this. Watch this. Hold on. Let me show you something. Let me see if I can change my phone around. Hold on. How do I change my camera around? How do I
Oh,
change?
I don't know with this one if you
All right.
can.
Well, look. You see this? It's still
Yeah.
luggage. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's still luggage. Like, right here. I'm trying to say, I just came back from New York. Like, I just got back from New
So
York.
here's the
So
important question.
I'm
Here's the
back.
important question, Tony. Rangers or Yankees?
Yankees.
what?
I cannot believe you asked him that.
Yankees.
First of all, it's Yankees or Mets,
It's Yankees.
of course.
So were you able to be you? I haven't heard you mention this yet already. So I'm assuming you weren't there to see Aaron Judge make the 62.
Nah, I wasn't there, man. You know, I had somebody steal $90,000 from me, man,
What?
and scam me on the New York City property. I was
What?
trying to turn into a shelter for women who are survivors of domestic violence.
Really?
No way.
Yeah, man. So my thing is,
This was in New York or now
in New York,
in
I
Houston.
be taking these ass whoopings. I don't cry about none of these ass whoopings I be getting out here in
That's
these
what I'm saying. Like
streets.
yo, dude, every fucking
Be
punch,
fucking taking these shit.
everything life throws at you, you just.
Hey, there are better men than me that I'm pretty sure that I wish could be here to have his problems. My nephew's not here. I wish he could have his problems. Yeah, brother, I mean, you got to think about it, right? Look, you could be rich with many things, but if you feel rich, then you you have enough to be happy about. You know what I mean? Like, you're not taking it with
Yeah.
you. Enjoy what you
Amen.
have, even if you have a bunch
Amen.
of
Yep.
it. I don't care what you have a bunch of. Rock it till you love it, but just understand that the happinesses you should have inside you shouldn't come from none of that. It should already be inside you. Once,
Amen.
Yep.
Right.
yeah, I'm just a happy guy right now at this point, man. I've never been more happy in my life. I've survived so much horrible things, man. I'm just never been as happy as I am right now. You just seen I just had my toy car in my hand. I'm looking at it mesmerized. I'm about to pick it back up.
Yeah.
And
Show it. Show it.
this is an E63 AMG Mercedes. This is a beautiful car.
Woo.
Because when I pull up in my car and I'm doing 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, I'm making the cars look, yeah. Yeah, the car got in my garage going 3.2
Hey,
seconds. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Tony, something that I picked up when you were talking about those individuals that made a impact in your life at an early age. You mentioned something about a photographic memory.
Yep. I heard
Yes.
that. I caught that too.
That's how I
So
used to do music too, that way. People used to be surprised and they would see me rocking for like a half an hour and then listen to the beat and then I would just do the whole song and there would be no mistake and they'd be like, how in the hell did he do that? And it started because when I was young, I was a really smart kid. I used to read and write all the time. Then at third grade, I started cutting school. So my reading and
wait, at third
comprehension,
grade you started cutting school.
I was selling drugs in third grade.
Of
So
That's
course.
my
pretty early.
reading,
That's pretty
What?
early on.
So before you start, so you were in New York City, like
yes,
in the boroughs?
yes, yeah, I'm serious. I'm from
Where?
Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, Brooklyn.
Third
Okay.
grade.
So I
I'm
can
from Brooklyn,
believe
New
it
York.
now.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm from Brownsville.
Oh,
So
Brownsville. Okay.
yeah,
Third grade.
so
Oh,
I'm serious. My teacher's name was Misty Loach. I'm not lying to you. Like I'm dead serious. Like the third grade, that especially the last marking period, I cut the whole third grade. They said I was suspended. I forged my mom's name because I could draw. I could draw and paint you how you look. I'm serious. So at that age, I forged my mom's name on the suspension. I swear, if I'm lying, hey, listen, you know what's crazy? I'm gonna get all y'all on the phone with my mom. My mom was like, he is not lying to you. I forged her name on my.
I believe you,
I
Tony.
Yeah, I
literally
believe you.
forged
Yeah, I
her name
believe.
I
Yeah.
forged her name and everything. But I stunted my growth because even though I was ahead in the third grade, I was reading at a fifth grade reading level.
hmm
I stagnated it. I stopped going to school completely, and I didn't really want my brothers to know that I couldn't punctuate a sentence correctly.
hmm
Couldn't spell words correctly, even though I could hear it and remember it, and I could see it and remember it. I stopped looking at words because you're not reading anymore. So I
Yeah.
just used to just say things and just remember it. And then we would all be saying music and then I would just be saying it, my verse in my head, and then I would be saying it over and over and over until I remember everything. And they'd be like, where's your paper at? And I'm like, well, I don't need that. I just say it from my head and I would just remember it.
Tony, I can't remember the intro to the Politics Plus podcast. After 17 episodes.
He's right. He's right. He's absolutely right. So Tony, how does
I had my tires checked early this morning. 83,352 miles was on my car when I checked, and it should only be a little bit above that. And I'm quite certain if I get it right now, and I checked it at 8 in the morning when I took it, I had to order the tire. The tire has
that's
to be
great.
ordered. It has to be specially ordered. But if I get up when we're done here, I'm gonna go cut that car and I'm gonna show you that mileage is not over 83,300 and some change. It's going to be 83,000, maybe 83,360 something because I drove it to and from the tire place. But it's going to be at 83,000. That much I promise you. Watch. It was 83,352 today when I took it there to get it done to have it checked. Like I can see something and literally remember it with no problem. Like
That's pretty cool.
I used to get, she girl like, my number is, I'd be like, say it. And she'd be like, you don't forget it. No, I'm not.
Oh, so that was a great trick with the honeys. You could get their phone number. You just
say it. I'm gonna remember.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. Wow.
This has been a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is. I don't want this to end, but we have to move.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now.
I'm coming back on the podcast. When are we doing this again? When's the next episode?
Yeah,
are we doing like a part two?
Tony, you better be coming back.
Are we doing like a part two? We gotta. We
You're
get into all the topics. I just sit here rambling and shit. We gotta
Tony,
really go in.
Tony, next time you come, you're gonna come back as a special guest host. and we're gonna have you interview King Bao.
All right, cool. I don't know who that is, but can we discuss Kanye real quick before we get out of here real quick? Can we
Yes.
just tap on that real
Sure.
quick? I need
Whatever you want
everybody
to
to
say,
Have
pray
brother.
for
take
Kanye.
all the time you want, Tony.
Pray for Kanye. People are upset with him because he wore a shirt and they never asked him why he wore the shirt. This
Yeah.
is showing you what society is right now as a whole, because it was both sides that was doing this too. It was people who once was loving Kanye West and everything else. Pray for Kanye, because Kanye
You
West
know,
is going to expose some things, and they're going
yep.
to. I pray that they don't try, but pray for Kanye West. When you see that brother, protect that brother. When you see
It's really
people,
fascinating to watch him speak like on. I only saw small segments of the Tucker interview, but when you watch him speak, you feel him, man. I mean, that is I love him. I love him. I love him.
I for sure thought he was going to be, because I seen the interview where he was like, "Oh, I said sorry to Kim." It was like 60 Minutes or something like that, and it just seemed
Yeah.
so prepped and so rehearsed. And I was like, "Damn, they got to him, man. He done sold out." Then when the T-shirt came out, I was like, "It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make
I
any
think he's
sense." I'm like,
struggling.
"No, I said it doesn't make any sense." I said, "All Lives Matter" was a shirt everybody should wear, but I was like, "There's a reason why he's doing this." And then I was
Hmm.
like, "Let me just sit back and let me see."
Let it play
Yay.
out.
And then he's on Tucker Carlson.
Here's what's going on. Here's what's going on with Kanye. A lot of times I've noticed this too. Have you noticed that Trump, when he was in office, he was always ahead of the game. He was always ahead of everybody, like by a long shot. And that's exactly the way that's the way I see Kanye. He's ahead of everybody's game. He did that for a reason, just like you said earlier, to see what the reaction was going to be. Is he frozen? Okay. Uh, and the reaction he got was just what he predicted. Am I right?
And not only did he predict it, but he stopped all tracks because they was
Yep.
most likely going to expect him to have something of the sort of saying, "Well, I like the shirt," or
Hmm.
but it wasn't nothing. It wasn't that. It was to say, "This shirt is a mockery of you." You know what I mean? Like, we know
Yes.
that they lives matter, but y'all
Exactly.
had no problem when y'all seen white people wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts, and these people
Exactly.
stole
Exactly.
$1
Yep.
billion out of the black community.
Yep.
You know what
Yes.
I
Trying to
mean?
expose them. Yeah.
So what he did was ingenious because it made all the left media talk about him, and now everyone's gonna. And then this is who's so super great. Tucker Carlson is amazing. Let me tell you why.
I love him.
He already got over 1 million, 2 million views on one video alone.
I
2 million views on another
love
video.
Tucker
So
Carlson.
Tucker Carlson's gonna get a lot of money off of this YouTube video for Kanye West. This is an exclusive that's going to be remembered for a
A
very,
beautiful
very
person.
long time. I'm no,
Yep.
no. This interview with Kanye West. If the Drink Champs interview with Kanye West broke the internet almost.
Yeah, that Drink
This,
Champs classic.
yeah, this is going to break
Hmm.
social fabrics. He went in on his wife and told the truth. He went in on Jared Kushner and told the truth from what he's seen from his place. We haven't even seen the whole thing yet.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Tony. What kind of security does Ye, as he calls himself now, what kind of a security does he need? I mean, he's telling the truth. When you tell the truth like this, when
What
you make
kind of
these kind of
security
waves,
that
boy,
Kanye need? Kanye needs. I'm gonna just keep it all the way tall with you.
that was mildly rhetorical,
Yeah,
but
I
you
was
see
gonna
my
say, like,
point.
there's no protection that you can take because these people, they can
Yeah.
spray stuff around you that'll give you something. So
Hmm.
he just walks with a different purpose, and he doesn't really care what they would try to do to him. At this particular point in time, he doesn't care. I'm really, 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 really elated to see that he really told the truth about what was going on
Yeah.
within, his marriage and stuff. I thought
Yeah.
that he was going to try to
Love it.
save it, but he was like, "No, she's a handler. She's a thief."
Right.
And
I, I
you know what I found particularly fascinating too was the look on Candace Owens' face when they were walking together with those shirts on. She looked at Kanye like she was married to him,
hmm
like she loved him,
hmm
and that was just refreshing. Am I right?
I've said some harsh things about her. in the past because I personally know her, and I personally felt slighted by her. But it can't take away from the fact that she's absolutely brilliant,
Yeah.
She is.
very diligent,
She
and
is.
um, you do not want to piss that woman off.
No.
I don't think
No, you
Yeah,
that.
don't.
you can't
Yeah,
even
I
think
just don't
about it.
think
That's
that
not
it's
even an
You're a
option.
smart
beneficial
man,
to.
Tony.
Yeah, I don't think it is
Yeah.
beneficial to. I mean,
No.
I've said
No.
some things. I think the only reason why I kind of get away with it is because deep inside, I think that I know I'm wrong for things I say. I've been apologized for it, but I know deep inside she knows that she kind of slighted me too. You know what I mean? So it's a reason why I felt
Mm,
hurt. So it's personal,
mm,
but it's water under the bridge. Years
Okay.
ago, yeah,
mm.
years ago, I'm happy that she has a beautiful child. I'm happy that she has another baby she just had,
Two.
or she has one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
two kids.
two healthy babies. I'm happy that she's clearly doing everything she can to take care of her family, and I think that the work that she's done is very important. And even though she may
Mm-hmm.
not have done things the way I wanted them done, I didn't run her show. You know what I mean? And that's why we grow. And that's why we change, and that's why we move on and we do other things. But what she did
Tony,
was brilliant.
when you say she slighted you, was this before she became famous, or this was when she
No, this is
was?
when she was famous, and this had to do with
Okay,
the election. This had to do with
okay,
when I was running for elections, and it wasn't just that.
Okay.
It had to do with the situation with the young man named King Face, too. So
Oh
it was
yeah.
that as well. It was with me having to expose that as well. So I just felt like
Mm.
there was people attacking George Floyd. He's dead, and then these same people are getting mad at me because I'm exposing what this guy did. You know what I mean? Like I exposed it when he was alive, and then when he died, I still exposed it too. Like it, the
It's
teapot,
hard to
tea
expose. It's
kettle.
hard to expose dead people.
It's not.
It's
It's
hard to
not
bring.
that he
It's
was
hard to do that.
alive. My whole thing was when I exposed what he was doing, he was still alive. So it wasn't like he was. And they were
But
like,
you also
"Oh,
told the truth after he was dead, though, too.
yeah, I don't care. It is what it
So
is."
and that's fine. And that's great. It's fine. But I'm just saying it's hard to do that, and you're gonna get some
Now
backlash
I
for
can
that,
understand that,
obviously.
right? I can understand that, but
But the truth is still the truth.
yeah. And so then, why speak about George Floyd? My whole thing was people. One person in particular said, "Well, he's not here to defend himself." Well, they're not here to defend themselves either. So if we're going to be
Right.
Exactly.
Christians, right? If we're going to be
right.
Christians, right?
Yep.
Then aren't we supposed to be praying for the people that cannot pray for themselves?
Hmm.
Yes.
So why are we going to be sitting here and throwing people under the bus? Because I feel directly slighted because I got a second chance at life.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some horrible things. I
Yeah,
sold drugs.
you sure did.
I
You
carry
sure did.
weapons. I've done bad things. So who's to say that if George Floyd would have lived long enough, presuming that that's not fate, right? Because when
Yeah.
people say, even though I know his brother and George Floyd's not here, right? So
Mm-hmm.
who's to say that if he was here long enough that he wouldn't have changed his life? Who's to say that he wouldn't have saved someone else? You know what I mean? Like it's like we're just
Mm-hmm.
condemning people because it's cool to condemn people, and I
Yeah.
wasn't even trying to do that. I was just saying like, look, you need to spread the word because this dude was giving out such and such, and affecting people within our community, and we need to bring awareness to it. And people just kind of didn't want to bring
Yeah.
awareness to it at all. They just wanted to hide it. So there's a
Yeah.
big difference to me between the two. I wasn't trying to criminalize no one or their legacy and none of that. I was just like, yo, he did this, and we need to make sure that we get on top of it because
Mm-hmm.
he did
Right.
this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I'm just glad that God has given me many, many second chances. It's sad to see that there are people out there who will never have even one second chance. So, what I like to say to you, I mean, we're not done right now, Tony, but uh, God has big plans for you, my brother. God has big plans for you, and what you're doing and what you're saying is evidence of that. So, you just keep on being you and doing what you're doing. It's fantastic. I love it. I
Thank you,
love it.
bro. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
would support you. I would support you in anything you want to do. I promise you.
Hey, bro, you know what? I'm going to leave public office alone. My thing and my goal is to acquire and amass enough wealth so I can effectively go into these gang
Mm-hmm.
riddled communities and put an end to it.
Excellent.
So, like, my goal for now, like, like moving forward, if I can, one day, hopefully, is to really get in there and kind of put an end to gang violence and just
And
senseless killing. It's just getting to a point where the guy who wanted to be the toughest guy ever in history is now saying This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Tony. Speaking of gang violence, I don't want to change the subject here, but I jumped on a live with you, and you broke down how you would fix the inner city problems, especially with gang violence. What you would do to, in certain states like Chicago, uh, New York, and what you said just, oh man, it just blew my mind. It just blew my mind because we painted the scenario about Trump, taking office back again, and somewhere Kanye West was kind of going to be spearheading something this was something that you just created, like, you suggested. And during that live, I was just like blown away. I don't know if you remember what
I
you
remember
said, but I
everything
was just,
verbatim.
yeah, dude, I need you to
I
listen.
remember everything I said.
I need you to
Photographic
spit that.
memory
I need
again.
you to spit that, what you spit that
What
day,
I said
because
was Kanye West would get $1 billion from Donald Trump. I said he could take $1 billion budget and literally fix most of the problems gang related with $100 million. I said you would go into the inner city like Chicago. It would be like seven main gangs. You give each member around $20,000 to sit down and have a conversation. But they're not coming there to conversate, communicate with each other. They're coming there to see me. See, when they come there to see me, I'm going to explain to them just how powerful they are. The reason why these individuals are killing one another is because they
I
feel
love this.
powerless. This is the reason
I
why it's
love this.
senseless violence. So now pulling all these individuals in one room and telling them, you can walk out of here. When you walk out of here, you can take your money. But when you walk out of here, I'm going to put all of the law and all of my power on you. So they'll be sitting in front of me, a person covered in tattoos, made problems, but changed his life. I'm going to tell them, you can take this money and leave out of here, and decide not to change and say, this little, such and such is crazy. I'm going to come out here and keep running this and spinning the block. And I'm telling you, when you leave out of here, I'm going to come down
I'm
on
coming
you.
down on you.
Yeah, with the kind of law enforcement activity that you have never seen ever in your life. You're going to think you're going to war when I'm done with you.
So here's your chance to
So
turn it
here
around.
is your chance to turn it around. This is seed money. And every
wow.
single one of you in here have seed money to start opening up small businesses and corn stores in
What a
your community.
fantastic idea.
Brilliant.
If you decide to come walk with me and walk with me into this
Mm.
next room, to sit down in this next room and see what's in this next room, if you decide to walk in here with me, then I'm going to assume not only are you going to take this money, but you want to build in your communities and you want to set up businesses and job opportunities in your community. So if you walk into this room with me, I'm going to show you how to build businesses. I'm going to help you get the businesses, and we're going to put your communities to work and save them. So the people are going to walk in that room with me, and the people who walk outside the other door and choose the other door are going to have hellfire and brimstone. I am not going to turn. I'm going to use all my expertise and everything that I know related to the streets, and I'm going to become their worst nightmare. They're going to call me
But
a
What's
see,
snitch
funny?
and a rat, and they're going to
this
say
is
everything they want,
exactly
but I'm
what we
telling you
need.
what I'm going to do to
This is
them. It will be
the
no
This
place
answer.
to
is,
hide, no
yeah.
place to sell drugs, no place to hold your guns, no place to lie to little girls, no place to victimize people. I'm going to come for you, and when I come for you, I'm going to come get you. So you just can't hide. So you're going to want to
You know,
walk
it's
into the other room with me because you're going to want to build your communities up. And I'm going to do this in every single community that I go into.
But see, this is exactly
as you were
what we
saying this,
need.
Tony. Go ahead, Mel.
Because you came from there, you know exactly what's going on in these
Exactly.
communities, and this is
Bingo.
what we need. We need people like you who have lived through it, who know what it is to go through these things, and have someone say, I'm here to help you. Because in all honesty, and we know this, nobody comes out to those communities. I grew up in the Heights, so did you, Danny? Did somebody, oh yeah, I want to come and help you? No.
No one.
As you were saying all that, Tony, what I was thinking to myself was, if I could find a way to get this podcast to the right people, to see your passion and to hear your plan, I would do it.
Bro,
You know,
and
whether
we
it
will
was
win.
whether it was Kanye or Trump or whoever, because I love to hear this. I love to hear this kind of passion, and I truly believe that someone like you could make that difference. I would love to be standing in that room watching you talk to these people.
It would be
That's how
so.
much
I'm telling you, you
I'm
would.
just thrilled,
You know what?
thrilled.
I'm telling you, and you will watch because the communities and gangbangers that have the most beef, they're gonna have to employ each other. Oh, it gets
Exactly.
when it comes, hey Tony, listen, when it comes down
it's not
to
a
it,
game.
when that day comes, would you invite me to come with you? Because I want to
Brother,
just
when
stand
that
here in
day
the room
comes,
watch.
when that day comes, I give you my word that I will allow you to
Okay,
be in that room.
and I
And when
will
that
be
day
there.
when that day comes, it's going to be a lot of people because
I will be there.
once they
I
walk through the
promise you,
other
I will be
door,
there.
once they walk through the other door, they're going to see a spread like they've never seen before. I mean, I did Fed time with Italians. You understand? Like, there's gonna be a
Loving
spread
this.
like they've never seen before. Do you understand? Like, the people are gonna come up to him and they're gonna see people in that room of all shapes, colors, and sizes, and people from all over the world. That's important. People they see on television, and people are gonna come in and they're gonna say, "I'm glad you came in here," because all of us are here to help you. So yeah, you're gonna be in the
That's
room. I
right.
have no problem doing that.
It's an
I would have Yeezy in the
opportunity.
room too. I would have everybody that I can in that room that can make
Yep.
something happen because all of these people will be invested into letting these people know that we're proud of you, we're behind you, and we can
Oh,
change what's happening.
it would be
Yeah.
absolutely
So
fantastic.
anybody
I would
that
love it.
anybody
Love
listening
it.
to this on YouTube or Rumble or listening to iTunes or Spotify right now, go ahead and rewind to the 5 minute mark. Rewind 5 minutes work so you can hear the brilliance of Tony X. Because when you told me this on the live, dude, my skull just you blew my skull away, man. That's just so brilliant, and you
If
know
we could only seen you, if we could only seen you blush, Danny.
and it gives Tony Mel hit it on the head because you're from this world. They're gonna see you as
Yeah.
someone that's just like them. It's not gonna be
Giving them an
some
opportunity.
actor. Yeah, exactly. It's not gonna be some actor,
I
some
love
person that
it.
they pay. It's gonna be Tony motherfucking X coming in there and giving them the whole hardcore facts. But also Tony, and all this is giving them hope, some chance,
Yeah.
some sliver of light to make something better of themselves, their family, and their friends. To get out of that
Well,
knucklehead lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
of just killing one another. The black community has suffered enough, and what you're presenting with that idea is just an opportunity to get a piece of the pie and to change their lives for their family, their friends, their kids, whoever. Man, that's
you
And for
just
spoke about you
themselves.
spoke about you spoke about redemption earlier, Tony. And here's your redemption. Okay, the passion that you feel for helping people that you know need help. It's a beautiful thing. So I don't want to say I'm encouraging you. You don't need encouraging because you're there,
It's commendable.
but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate
I
that.
would and I promise you when I tell you this, I will help you any way I can. I mean it. I'm sure Danny and Mel feel the same way.
what's crazy. Fucking liberals hear this shit, they'll shoot that shit.
Yeah,
No,
they'll
you know what it
fucking
isn't that
is?
they'll try
sad?
to
Hey
they'll try
man.
to stop that in his tracks. They'll be like, we can't let fucking Tony X give money to these criminals. Nah, it's
But
racist. Fucking unbelievable, man.
but it's different because again, he is, a product from it. Then you hear people like Jay-Z, I'm gonna help the community. No, you're not
Yeah,
helping the
full of
community. You're
shit,
not.
full of shit.
What you're doing is
Liars.
you're teaching these people, these kids, young kids, to be hustlers. That's not
All
what we
right,
want.
Tony's got something to say. I can see it in his face.
No, hey, it's
Come on,
it's
brother.
I'm gonna get to a point where when my star when I am a household name, at the point that I reach the point where I'm a household name, they're gonna kill me, brothers and sisters. And that's
We
okay.
talked up.
Yeah, and it's okay, right?
They're gonna try.
No, they tried already, but I'm gonna tell you that you're gonna be they definitely they're gonna be successful. But it's okay, right? I think that the most important thing to focus on is the results, right? Not
The
the not
mission,
you
yeah.
know. So um I do
We'll
believe
be
that
praying over you.
I do believe that the person that I'm supposed to wake up is gonna wake up. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think that nothing's gonna happen to me tomorrow or none of that. I'm not a household name, but I do know the effort put forth by these people to try to little by little dissolve my influence, to try to control it, or try to hide it. And I'm well aware of what these people want to do, but I just know that whether it's 2 years from now, 50 years from now, uh, somebody's going to step up, and that person is not. It's not going to be someone that had to continuously fix himself. When he comes, he's going to be fixed already. And I'm just going to tell people that, like, when he comes, he's going to be fixed already. Like, it's not going to be someone that, God used a lot of people, alcoholics, everybody. But when the person, that's supposed to come, he's going to come ready. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to come ready. So I'm just enjoying, what it is. I'm happy that I have the opportunity to touch the people that I am touching. And if I get to a point where I can actually get that done and start setting it up and everything else, they're going to kill me. They're going to absolutely kill me. But at least at that particular point in time, it would have been the sacrifice needed. Look, we reach a point in our history, no matter what part of history you go through, there's going to be somebody that had to sacrifice, or, just so people could understand and kind of look towards it. We had it with Martin and Malcolm. They knew that they had to make a sacrifice. These people still knew, that their lives is in danger. Martin Luther King was reportedly a freak. He didn't care. He still loved his wife still, but he had issues with him. Men are men, but he still fought the fight. It still didn't change who he was and what he did for people. So I'm just here to be used for the time that I'm here. And I'm just gonna, believe in the plan. And I believe that I'm one of the key reasons, and there's other people who are here too. And I know there are a lot of people who are here too, that are millions, hundreds of millions of people that are here. Some people we don't know, some people we haven't seen, speak yet, but they do things on their own way, whether they're outside just feeding homeless people, but
Yeah.
all of these events and all of these actions are all done in concert for a greater purpose. And the person that's going to come, I promise you, is just going to be ready. Sometimes we got to give sacrifices, and
Yeah.
it just is what it is.
Well, I'll be praying a hedge of protection on you because I love what you're saying. So, and what your heart is saying, and what you want to do with the community. So, I feel like you'll be here for a long while. I really do.
Yeah, I do too.
God's got like I said earlier, God's got plans for you, and you know, I tell people all the time, God, you may have made mistakes. I've made several mistakes in my life that are, I wouldn't even want to talk about, but God knows your heart. Okay? And so when God knows your heart, it doesn't matter all the bad things you've done in the past, because He knows your heart, especially your heart now. So I feel like you're going to be around for a long time. You're going to do it, and you're going to make some great changes in society. So just be encouraged with that.
I am.
So I do have a question before we end, just to bring a little, I guess, chipperness. Do you believe in reptilians, and do you think that Joe Biden is one of them or a clone?
I don't think that he is important enough to be. He has a blood, so I think that people kind of misconstrue like that to the point. Only draconians can actually alter their physical appearance. So anyone else that's pertaining to the blue bloodline
Mm-hmm.
or the bloodline of Vlad, if you saw their brain, you would see that their reptilian part of their brain would be much larger than that of you or I, say,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they're controlled more by their reptilian brain than they are of their mammal brain. But the Draculs don't have a mammal brain. So when they talk about the fallen angels coming down and then, dealing with men, they're telling you about a treaty that stopped the angels from taking women because there was already a race of reptilians here, i.e., the reptilian that told Eve to eat that apple. It was not a snake that told Eve to eat that apple. That's why they said the snake didn't slither. He put him on his stomach. Said God put the snake on his stomach.
Because it had
That,
legs and arms.
it said that the snake had legs and arms. So
Yeah.
that means, So the reptilian race was here. And then also I hear people talking about how they believe in God, they believe in the Bible and everything, but they don't acknowledge the firmament and what we're being told. I was speaking to Danny and I was telling him a few people really study Kemetic science and history. Some people just go by Egyptology, and they be like, "Oh, they had all these gods and this and the third," and then they don't really get
Right, right.
Kemetic science. They don't really understand what was taught and what was said, and then you'll see that it coexists a lot with what was taught in the Bible. There is affirmative. There is no way in the world these people went to the moon and they didn't colonize it and take it over. You've never known anyone in history
Exactly.
that's taken over anything and they haven't been back there to go check on what they took over. And you're telling
Exactly.
me that you had all these capabilities 60 years
Back
ago,
then.
55 years ago, and now we are where we are, and you still haven't set up a colony or something like that? You're talking about going all the way to Mars, and you're not even talking about going to the satellite that's up there?
Mm-hmm.
We have stargates, and the reason why we know that they're real because we have a word called stargate. It describes an action. If you go into the dictionary and you look up stargate, it's going to tell you a gateway into another dimension and or plane. It describes distinctly what it is because it exists. That's why. They're going on the outside. They use it. Now, some people may think, oh, you crazy. I mean, to each his own.
No.
You know, to each his own. That's cool if you want to believe what you want. But I don't believe anything these people tell me. And I do extensive research. There's a reason why it's called the Arctic Circle. It encases everything around us and it circles us. It's not because it's
Mm-hmm.
one cap at the top and one cap at the bottom. They control all of your movement on purpose. They keep you controlled on purpose. You can't just get in your plane and fly anywhere you want. Can't do that. They just don't allow you to do that. There's a reason why they're controlling that airspace. And from my research, I'm always seeing that the Bermuda Triangle is one of the largest gateways that allows us to get into the other dimensions and or realms or planes or however. It doesn't matter. Like this is what I'm seeing constantly over and over and over again. So yes, I believe. I definitely believe. No, I don't believe that the earth is flat per se, where it's like, oh, and then it's like an inner earth. No, we are inner earth, and on the outer rings or the outside of us are other land masses and on continents where there are other beings that rule, which are the draconians. And this is what I'm just saying
Tony,
from my years of research.
you're making Mel's night. I can promise you this.
Yeah, Mel's big on conspiracies and
She's gonna go to bed smiling tonight. I promise you.
Dracula means son of the dragon, and Dracul means the dragon. And if you look, there's a video, y'all. Everybody watching, listen. There's a video of Donald Trump ragging Hillary Clinton. He's like, and she knows that it takes a village to raise the children because she's taken many in Haiti. There's a man behind Donald Trump, and he's wearing a crest on his neck. That man is Dracul. He
wow.
runs Rothschild. He is
Oh.
sitting there behind Donald Trump when he's like, and you can see that he's kind of not there, but there. Donald Trump was not supposed to be in that room. The guy who runs the show was in that room, though, and Dracul was in there. He's wearing a brooch. He's wearing a crest on his chest. You'll have to make me go look for it before I go.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna go
I'm about to
look
pull
for
it
it.
right now. I'm about to pull it right now. Fuck out of here. You
Shit.
gotta make me pull it up.
Oh shit.
Let me see. Trump roast Hillary Clinton. Let me see.
At the dinner, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I found it. Oh, and Mark left because this is not his convo.
So there's a
Yeah,
dude
Mark.
behind him, right? Behind
Yes.
Trump on
Yep.
his right
Mhm.
side. And that dude is Dracul. That's Dracul.
Wow.
That is Dracul. That is the
Yep,
Dracul.
I see it.
He
Yep.
is Dracul. He is wearing the superior crest of him on his chest. It's Dracul. That's the man with the plan. That's the dude who run the show. That's the
Yep.
man
Yep.
who's
Yep.
running everything right now. That's who's running everything. That's why his skin looks so fake. You can't even look at his skin. Look how his skin looks so tight and peeled on him. Look at his skin.
Well, that's how some of
Oh,
them look
wow.
like too.
No, because it's not real.
Who we
That's
talking
why.
It's
about?
not real.
I disappeared for a while. What happened?
Dracul. I had to show them. I
You're
had to
lost
tell
now.
them where to go find them. I was like, go find
He
that
doesn't
man.
believe in these things.
It's okay. You know why he doesn't believe in these things? Because he doesn't believe in anything that they say completely. So it's either you're on the fence completely or you're just like, yes to it all. So I'm not even mad at him. Yeah, I'm not even mad at him. But there's a reason why the human race has a reptilian brain, and the reason why a baby experiences pretty much every single form of life while it's being created inside of the womb, and it's because the human race
You're
has been
right.
tampered with genetically over 10 times, and then you can just go into a human's DNA file and just see that it's been altered by someone who knew how to alter it. So
Can
I'm
I
just
say
saying.
something in my defense?
Yes.
We've had a conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist episode, Tony, and I was actually persuaded to believe the way Mel and this other female that was on the show with us,
Larissa.
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 So it's not that I don't believe in conspiracies. I could really dive into what you've just said, just in the past few minutes. So I'm not, it's not that I don't believe these things.
But you tell us to, oh, there they go again. So,
But when I hear things explained the way you've just explained that, I can actually entertain it. Let's put it that way.
This man
right
here,
there.
this man
Yep.
right here is drag cool. This
I
man
see
here
him.
behind Donald
Yep.
Trump, wearing the crest on his finger and the crest on his
Mm-hmm.
chest. And remember, he's the only one there who was wearing that. He is sitting next to bishops and everything else. He is not a bishop. Look what's on his arm and look what's on his dependents on his arm and everything else. He is the man in the whole room right now. He is sitting up front. He's the only one sitting up front. I'm telling you, he is the man who runs everything.
So is this a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a horrible thing.
Okay.
It's a bad thing, Mark.
Okay.
It's definitely a horrible thing. It's
All
definitely
right.
not a good thing.
All right.
It's
He's
not a good thing. And so
diabolical.
it's even more than diabolical. It's
So
not
how
even a
so
word
how
to
I
does
know.
describe how
how does he
horrible it is.
pertain to? So I would disappeared for a few
So
minutes.
he
Like,
runs global. He runs the global fiat currency. The three city states. London is a city state. The city state of DC is a city state, and the city state of the Vatican is a city state. So they revamped the Vatican and
Mm-hmm.
changed it to more satanic, more
Yeah.
child molestation,
Yes.
more pushing the homo agenda.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of to enter into this whole form of the Antichrist, so they
so
can
so
release a
if that
Luciferian experience.
so if that man is diabolical, as you say, how do we fight something like that?
We got to start by doing what I said initially, building an army, right? So now, if I came in here and I just said all black Biden voters is just dumb as hell, and I just start attacking them. Excuse my language, but if I just start attacking them and just start saying that, then I'm going to close these people off to having a discussion with me. So now, what I do is I let them vent and I let them say why they did this, why they did that, because bet $1 billion, if I had it, I
Mm-hmm.
bet $1 million that they're going to often say they didn't like what Trump said, things that he said, but very little people will say they didn't like what he did do. So once they talk about things that's, going on that they don't like, I'm just gonna, remember it, and then I'll just let them know, like, hey, that was so and so that did that. You live in this area, but Democrats run that. They've been running that, and I would just show it to
Right.
them. Instead of arguing with them about Trump, I'm not gonna let it be about Trump. You don't like Trump, fine. You don't have to like Trump, but don't like these people either, because this is what
Yeah.
they've been doing. And then after a while, you won't have to defend Donald Trump. You won't have to worry about defending Donald Trump because they would see it themselves. But you got to build
Oh,
an army, and you got to stop cutting people off. So how do we defeat these people is we unite. That's the one thing they don't want us to do. Clearly, that's the reason why they wanted to lock you in your homes. That's the reason why they're doing everything they can do to
yep.
not have you communicating with one another. And
Mm-hmm. That's right.
and as long as you can do it, then you can be unstoppable. So
So, so
that's the greatest way to win.
Tony X, how do liberals, Democrats, Republicans, and conservatives, even like centrists or independents, what's their part in all this?
Stop identifying as all of that and just identify yourself as someone who just wants to tell the truth.
Yep.
If you stop identifying as a political party, because then it will
Mm-hmm.
pigeonhole your political idea. And then
Yep.
it would mean that you can't listen to any other political ideas, because it's kind of like cheating. So they're smart about their messaging, both sides. Very, very smart and capable. So they know that if you call yourself a Republican, that you're not supposed to be listening to CNN. You know what I mean? Like, they know if you call yourself liberal, you're not supposed to be listening to Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
So just don't call yourself none of that, right? Go in and look and see what they're saying, and then see who's making sense. and then still don't call yourself that because you might like Tucker Carlson, fine, but then there's still people on Fox News who suck. You
So
understand?
is it
So
important to label yourself as an independent over Republican or
no,
or
Or
don't
just
Democrat or
nothing.
include yourself in no verbiage
Yeah, he
with
said
Thank
that.
not. He
you.
said
Thank
so
Just
you.
say I
not to.
tell the truth.
okay.
I'm just an American citizen that tells the truth and wants the best for my brothers and sisters in my country and for my family. I'm not a part of your political process no more. I'm not playing the games because words are voodoo. You understand? Words is voodoo. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
allow you to trap me into this energy because the energy that's going around with each particular party is seasonal. I'm not going to
Yeah.
do that with you guys. I'm just not letting anybody even put me into that kind of energy. I just want to tell the truth. I just want the best for my country, and I am a conservative. And that's not on any ballot. That's in my heart. You
Yep.
understand? Like that's in my heart, and that's
Well,
just how
well
I'm going to
said.
walk. That's it. I'm not going to be pigeonholing anything, and then stop letting people do that to you. When they have polls and everything else, and they be like no political party. Don't even answer when it's time for us to go to get people who are involved because the MAGA, they call MAGA Republicans, but they're not really Republicans. The truth tellers.
Huh?
They just allowed the Republican Party to attach themselves to
Mm.
MAGA. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because this is the only way that they had a life raft. You know, this is the only way. No one, it's too dry. That party was too dry. They literally have the Democrats had prostitutes, hookers, and strippers, and free beer 40s, and then the Republicans literally had violin music, cheese, and crackers. So when Donald Trump came in there, Donald Trump said, "All right, we're not bringing none of the strippers and none of that in here. But we could put some flat screens in this mofo. You know what I mean? We could have some cabaret dances. You know what I'm saying? You know, we could have the Rockettes in here. You know what I mean? Like he jazzed the place up. So what they did was they had to attach themselves to Donald Trump. Because outside of Donald Trump, who are we really talking about besides DeSantis? And who gave DeSantis the nod to even get that victory? Donald Trump.
Yep.
So let me ask you this then, Tony. When you go to the polls, and in my state, you have to actually disclose it's either Republican or Democrat. So how do you get away from that stigma, if you will, of being a Democrat or a Republican? So in other words, you can.
That's when you put independent.
So okay, so that's where that's where I was getting at when I said that. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Then
be
that's
known
when you put independent.
as the right or the left. I want to be known as what you're saying, a truth teller. But let's
If you
face
know
it,
what,
they do
if they
ask you.
force you, if they force you to ask you in your state, it's best for you to put independent. You know why? That means they both got to work hard for your vote.
Yeah, and they
That's
also
what I
can't throw
am.
your ballot out because you're this or that either, because
That's right.
they don't
Yeah.
know where you stand.
They don't know where you stand.
So that
Exactly.
would be an important thing to actually tell people. I would think that even though independent is what you, I see you're thinking. I see you thinking, huh? You
It
you you
just took you a while.
you want to you want to get away from the Democrat and the Republican stigma
Yeah.
by being this guy could be anything.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to actually push that idea to maybe become independent. Because let's face it, independent, you're independent. For what the word
Hmm
actually means. You can go either
you
way.
know, I agree. It's pretty. I agree. But in other states too, though, they do allow you to put conservative. So, like in New York State, you can put conservative. There's a
Yeah.
conservative ballot for New York State. So,
But
but
putting
if they're
but putting
forcing you to
conservative
say
is just
what
like
you
putting
are,
Republican.
no, it's not.
No,
No,
it's
not in New
not.
Well,
York City.
You're
No,
not
it's
allowed
not.
to
Not in New York
you're
State.
not
No,
allowed to vote in the primaries.
in their eyes it is though.
No, it's
no,
not.
it's not.
No.
It's not. That's a major voting block in New York City too, in New York State as well. The conservative vote.
Yep.
A Republican can't win if he don't have support
Yep.
from the conservative
That's
vote.
right.
Most
Yep.
Republicans that get the GOP nod have to also get that conservative nod
They have
too,
to get the
They do.
conservative vote.
Yep.
Yep.
and they have to get the conservative nod first before they get the GOP nod. You got to go for
Yep.
the conservative nod
Well,
first.
I see what you're saying, but when you actually put conservative, you are telling the Democrats that are overseeing your voting station that you are actually a Republican.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, in this case, I mean,
I
put an
mean, you
independent
see
would
my
probably be
point,
the best
right?
thing. Yes, no, I agree, and I agree that I think maybe this election cycle, telling people already registered as Republican, I guess because they're in Republican states. But if you are in a Democratic state and you want to vote for a Republican, just turn your ballot to independent.
I agree.
Trojan horse.
I agree totally. Well, I guess we're gonna land this plane right about here, huh? Hey
Yep,
guys,
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
man, Tony,
Well,
I gotta tell you, it's been a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed being here with you. I promise you that. I love it. I've
Oh,
loved it.
I appreciate you, Mark.
yeah.
Thank you, man.
I
Yeah, it
think
was a pleasure.
I think what Mark and Mel are saying is that you need to come back.
No, I'm
Yeah.
coming back.
That's
I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
that's
I'm
that's what
glad to
they're
hear
really
it.
saying. But
Coming back.
Tony, listen,
Good thing
if
is
you
I don't do my podcast on Friday, so that's the good thing. On Friday, I don't do no podcast
Fridays
on
as it
Friday.
is.
So
Awesome.
Well, our
Perfect.
season, our first season's coming to an end in a month or so. But we definitely like to have you, Tony X. And I came on. I usually don't come on with any of our guests. We've had some really heavy hitters. Mel and Mark and Mimi are usually on, but I had to come on because, there's something about Tony X that I needed to
I
be
want to say
here
one
and
more thing too, Danny.
roll out the red carpet and have my boy on. Go ahead, Mark.
I didn't want to
What,
interrupt. I
Mark?
didn't want to interrupt you, but I knew if I
Too
didn't,
late.
I
Too
wouldn't.
late.
I wouldn't.
I know,
I
you
Too
wouldn't
did.
get
late.
it
Too
in.
late.
Tony,
Too late.
I
Too
gotta
late.
tell you, Tony, I gotta tell you that Danny was so excited that you were coming on. This is why he's on tonight. This is episode 17. He's never been on one before. He's on tonight because you are
that's my
here.
brother.
But with that being said, I also want to say, Danny, you did a fantastic job. I'm glad you were on with us tonight. It was great. It totally made my experience a lot easier. I'm sure Mel can say the same thing. So thank you both. Thank you both.
Appreciate
I
you, dog.
appreciate you. I appreciate you guys for allowing me to come into your house. Now, when I get
Anytime.
everything situated, I'm gonna have y'all come on my podcast too. All right,
Love
so we'll
to.
do some cross-platforming too as well.
I think
Send me anything you need for me to promote as far as the podcast is concerned, like whatever trailers you need me to
absolutely,
promote or whatever.
absolutely.
Hey,
I'm gonna have some trailers.
text me they IGs and just make it
Yeah,
so I can copy and paste it. That way I can just make
yeah,
sure I'm following them too.
absolutely. Well, Tony X, I'm gonna give you your time in the sun. You want to plug yourself, your
Nah,
podcast,
I just
where
want to tell
people can
everybody,
find yourself.
stay safe.
There's people that are listening right now, my man. There's people that are listening right now saying,
Plug,
"Who the
plug,
fuck is
plug.
this? I gotta follow this guy. I gotta see." Yo, what you just spit, my man. You gotta plug yourself, bro.
Absolutely.
Nah, the writing should be on there, right? Don't y'all put the stuff up on
Yeah,
everything?
Yeah.
Like, don't
yeah.
y'all?
It's
Yeah, so
gonna
you
be
just
all.
follow everything that they're saying, right?
These people
All
need to
right.
do research, Danny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they need
all
to
I'm
do
gonna
their
tell them
research.
is stay safe, stay healthy, stay
Yep.
American, and remember, you gotta watch both sides because they two dirty wings and the same dirty, dirty bird.
Yep.
Love it.
All right. So for Politics Plus podcast, executive producer Danny Neyba here with Mel and Mark. It's been a fantastic show. And take care, everybody.
Thank you, Tony.
Pleasure, Mark.
Thank you.
Pleasure.